Hello everyone, I am Muskan from BSc Chemistry Honors 3rd year. Today I am going to discuss the chapter Bioinorganic Chemistry. Many biochemical reactions depend upon the presence of metal ions. These ions may be present in certain specific positions in biomolecules and may act, facilitate, or inhibit the reactions occurring in the biological systems. Bioinorganic chemistry is the branch of science which brings inorganic chemistry into life processes by recognizing the fundamental importance of life dependence on metal ions. In a simple way, bioinorganic chemistry means the study of the roles of metal ions in biology. This branch is a fast developing branch of chemistry because of its importance in biological systems. The advances in bioinorganic chemistry have led to the understanding of biological systems and insight into the structures and mysteries that nature has. This has also helped us to synthesize and characterize new inorganic compounds which resemble those found in living systems. Essential and trace elements in biological systems. Bioinorganic chemistry means the inorganic elements in the chemistry of life. The studies of biochemical reactions occurring within living systems have shown that certain metal ions plays a vital role in normal growth and functions of biological processes. The inorganic elements have many functions such as skeletal components of bones and teeth as electrolytes in maintaining water balance in vascular system and tissues and in the prosthetic groups of many enzymes. The abundance of elements in human body, earth's crust and seawater. The inspection of this table shows that though all those elements which are appreciably abundant in the human body are also abundant in seawater. Some of these elements are very essential for life and the maintenance of plants and animals. These elements may be present in very large or in small quantities. Essential elements. The essential elements may be defined as those elements which are required for the maintenance of life of plants and animals. These are indispensable and the absence of these elements results in death or a severe malfunction of the organism. However, this rigorous criterion cannot always be satisfied, and this led to the broader definition of essentiality. An element may be considered essential when its deficient intake produces an impairment of function and when the restoration of physiological levels of that element relieves the impaired function or prevents impairment. This means that the organism can neither grow nor completes its life cycle without the essential elements. Criteria for the essential elements are: the element is present in tissues of different elements at comparable concentrations. A psychological deficiency or abnormality appears when the element is withdrawn from the diet. The abnormalities are accompanied by specific biochemical changes which can be remedied when the deficiency is checked. A specific biochemical function is associated with a particular element. Thus, essential elements are indispensable for the growth and the normal functioning of the animals and plants. The essential elements may further be divided into two broad groups: bulk elements or trace elements. Bulk elements are the elements which are found in higher concentrations, and the trace elements are those which are needed in very low concentration. It may be noted that it is very difficult to define the limits of beneficial or detrimental concentrations. It may vary from organism to organism. The essential element may become toxic of higher than the normal concentration. For example, selenium is an essential element in mammals, yet one of the serious problem in the poisoning of livestock from eating plants that concentrates this element. The essential bulk or trace elements required by every animal or plants are given in the table. There are about 30 elements which are recognized as essential of life, and these are classified into the bulk or structural elements, 5 macrominerals, and 19 trace elements. Not all the elements given in the table as essential bulk or trace are required by every animal or plant. For example, Na positive is of vital importance to higher animals, but it is not essential for many bacteria and most plants except blue-green algae. On the other hand, only some higher plants have been found to require aluminium, boron, or vanadium. Similarly, molybdenum is essential to only those organisms which derive their nitrogen from inorganic sources. A number of non essential trace elements may be considered as non nutritive and non toxic, but some, like Az positive, Hg2 positive, Pb2 positive, etc., are highly toxic. Similarly, selenium is essential in trace amounts for some animals but proves to be toxic in higher concentrations. It may be noted that even some essential elements may prove to be toxic if consumed in the larger amounts. Essential bulk elements. The main essential bulk elements are potassium and sodium. Potassium is found almost universally as the principal inorganic cation present in most of the cells. It is essential to almost all the organisms except blue-green algae. It is the major cation in intracellular fluid and plays an important role in nerve action and function of the heart. Sodium is the major cation of extracellular fluid in the animals. Like potassium, iron is also important in the nerve functioning in animals. It is the major component of vertebrate blood plasma, and the main role of these cations, along with chlorine, iron, anion, is the osmotic regulation of body and tissue fluids. K positive and Na positive ions also serve as essential activating ions for specific enzyme activity. These cations with Ca2 positive and Mg2 positive are also important in the preservation of the integrity of cell membranes and in the normal activity of excitable tissues. Now, calcium and magnesium. Calcium and magnesium are present as carbonates and phosphates in the skeletal structure of mammals as about 99% of Ca2 positive and 70% Mg2 positive. Calcium is essential for all organisms and is used in cell walls, bones, and some cells as structural component. In human blood, Ca2 positive is present mainly in the plasma, in which about 50% is in ionic form and remaining is present in combination with serum protein. The important minerals and biological structural materials containing calcium that are given here. Calcium is necessary to all the cellular organisms. It plays important role in muscle contraction and stabilization of certain enzymes. It is also involved in blood clotting. Though calcium is relatively harmless, the decrease of the Ca2 positive content in blood due to dietary deficiency or from an insufficiency of parathyroid hormone may lead to a disease called tetany. On the other hand, an excess of Ca2 positive in the blood may lead to the calcification of the several internal organisms. Magnesium is also essential to all the organisms. In contrast to distribution of Ca2 positive in blood of mammals, more Mg2 positive is present in the red cells than in plasma. The Mg2 positive content of muscle cells is relatively more. It is also present in chlorophyll. It has electrochemical and enzyme activating functions, Mg2 positive ions, that play an important role as an activating ion in many enzymatic reactions. The interaction of Mg2 positive with ATP and other nucleotides is very important. It has been studied that all the transphosphorylation reactions involving ATP proceed smoothly in the presence of Mg2 positive. ATP is known as energy rich molecule and is used as an energy source to derive most of the chemical reactions of the cell. Magnesium plays significant role in this conversion and Mg2 positive complex of ATP is considered to be involved. The standard free energy change of hydrolysis of ATP to ADP is estimated to minus 31.0 kilojoule mole inverse. It has been observed that the activating effect of Mg2 positive in transphosphorylation may be duplicated in vitro by amine in second oxidation state. In some other reactions, Mg2 positive is duplicated by Ca2 positive, CO2 positive, Zn2 positive. Now, phosphate. The important reactions involving inorganic phosphorus compounds are the incorporation and release of phosphate groups in and from organic compounds and skeletal materials. The important phosphate compounds are nucleotides, polynucleotides, and phospholipids. The biochemical importance of phosphate group is in the metabolism of carbohydrates, fats, proteins, and vitamins. The presence of phosphorus in bones and its function in the regulation of pH of the blood are very important. The normal formation of bonds depend upon the amount of phosphorus and calcium in addition to vitamin D. Now, the essential trace elements. Essential trace elements. The 19th essential trace elements include three prominent biologically active metals: iron, copper, and zinc. All the remaining essential elements are considered as ultra trace because they involve less than 10 mg in the adult human, with the exception of fluorine and boron. The nutritional requirement for the essential trace elements is related to their participation in the action of various enzymes. Iron. Among the trace elements, iron is one of the metals found in greatest abundance in biological systems in the form of porphyrin complexes such as hemoglobin, myoglobin. Of the total iron in the human body, 70% is present in the hemoglobin and about 3% in the myoglobin. Most of the remaining iron is stored as ferritin. Ferritin is major iron storage protein in mammals, but it is also found in plant chloroplast and fungi. It is distributed mainly in the spleen, liver, and bone marrow. It consists of a cell of protein subunit surrounding a micelle of ferric hydroxide oxide phosphate having the composition FeOOH8. The iron content of ferritin varies from 0 to about 23%. Apoferritin protein may be prepared from ferritin by the reduction of ferric ions to ferrous ions at pH 4.5, followed by the removal of Fe2 positive ions by dialysis. The approximate formula weight of apoferritin is about 46,500. It dissociates into about 24 subunits. The pathway of Fe3 positive from foodstuffs to hemoglobin, which have the same properties similar to ferritin. The pathway of Fe3 positive from foodstuffs to hemoglobin and to ferritin involves the following processes. The Fe3 positive of dietary material is reduced to Fe2 positive in the gastrointestinal tract. After absorption into the cells of intestinal, Fe2 positive is incorporated into ferritin as Fe3 positive. The Fe2 positive is also converted to Fe3 positive plasma. Plasma Fe3 positive is in equilibrium with iron in the liver and bone marrow. Copper. Copper is also essential to all the organisms and is a constituent of redox enzymes and hemocyanin. Copper in the hemocyanin protein is oxygen carrier and supplies oxygen to certain aquatic creatures and redox enzymes. Copper containing enzymes plays an important role in the pigmentation of skin, functioning of brain, and in iron metabolism in body and hemoglobin formation. Probably copper containing enzyme systems are involved in some steps. The deficiency of copper in human system develops an anemia characterized not only by the marked decrease in the total iron and heme content in blood and tissues but also by an increased amount of free porphyrin in the erythrocytes. The excess of copper in human body is also harmful. A disease known as Wilson disease upsets the copper metabolism of human system in such a way that it absorbs the excessive copper from the intestinal tract and gets deposited in excess in the liver, kidney or brain. Patients suffering from this disease are treated with controlled classes of ethylene diamine tetraacetic acid EDTA, which forms a water soluble complex with Cu2 positive, which get excreted through urine. However, many other essential metals involved in other enzymatic reactions form EDTA complexes and also excreted. Then next, molybdenum. Molybdenum, it is an essential trace element for all the organisms with the possible exceptions of green algae. It is a constituent of several enzymes which are used by nature for nitrogen fixation and nitrogen reduction. It is moderately toxic. Its excess in the biological system may cause copper deficiency and is associated with gut-like syndrome. Chromium, it is also an essential trace element which is present in adult human body and in ultra trace amounts. It is involved in glucose metabolism and diabetes. Chromium and insulin both maintain the correct level of glucose in the blood. It is highly toxic as chromium, in which state it is carcinogenic. Manganese, it is essential to all the organisms. It activates numerous enzymes. The Mn enzyme produced in the liver converts nitrogenous waste products into urea, which is carried by the blood to the kidneys, which excrete it out into the urine. Nickel is an essential trace element for several hydrogenases and plants. Its deficiency in food slows down the functioning of liver in chicks and rats raised on deficient diet. It is highly toxic to most plants and moderately toxic to mammals. Arsenic. Arsenic is an ultra trace element in red algae, chick, rat, pig, goat, and some mammals, including humans. It is moderately toxic to plants and highly toxic to mammals when present in more than ultra trace amounts. Cadmium. This is an ultra trace element and has practically no significant use in living organisms. It is toxic for all organisms. It is cumulative poison in mammals, causing renal failure, hypertension, anemia, and disorders of bone marrow. Mercury. It has practically no biological function. Mercury is highly toxic to fungi, green plants, and animals. It is also cumulative poison for mammals. Now, non-metals. Among the non-metals, the essential elements are hydrogen, carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, phosphorus, sulfur, chlorine, and iodine. Most of these are needed in trace amount except carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen, which are abundant and present in most of the chemicals in the living system. Phosphorus. It is an important part of energy rich molecules. ATP is an important component of the bone as appetite, where X is equal to OH. The hydroxyapatite is the major component of bone tissue in the skeleton of vertebrates. It is also the strength ensuring material of the teeth, partial formation of fluoroapatite. F strengthens the structure and makes it less soluble in the acid formed from fermenting organic materials in teeth. Chloride. It is the major anion commonly found within and without the cell. It is essential for higher plants and mammals as NaCl electrolyte. In HCl, it is essential in digestive juices. The deficiency of chloride in infants can lead to the impaired growth. Iodine. It is an essential constituent of the thyroid hormone, example thyroxine, which is important in metabolism and growth regulation. Iodine deficiency causes abnormal functioning of thyroid gland and causes goiter. That's all about it. Thank you so much.